Alright, so now we're on to torquing the steering arm nut. According to the manual, that's the proper term. I like to call it the steering gear nut, but it doesn't matter. You can see it in the screen there. I can't put the camera under the car so y'all can see it better, so that's like the best angle I have, and you'll see the socket go on there. Now I just have a snap-on 1 5/16 socket. I read some forums, that's what they were saying was a socket, and so far it fits great. There's no problems with it. And so of course you just need your socket and a torque wrench, and according to the manual the torque is 120 foot-pounds on that nut. So I mean, it's pretty close to wheel lug nuts, and it shouldn't be that big of an issue, but I'm prepared. You know, there is no lock on the steering column because of course this is a 66, so I won't be surprised if maybe it starts turning when I'm trying to torque things down. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get into torquing that nut down. And maybe my hand might get in the way, I don't know. But I'm trying my best to record this. And when I put it in, I made sure the teeth weren't crossed, and they don't look crossed, so it should be alright. It should start just moving in. So it looks like it just barely hit the target. It's 116 torque pounds. Oh shit. Left will be a bit. I think that is pretty good. Woo! There's no cotter pin for this nut. I'm gonna break my shoulder. Trying to. Okay. Over torqued it a little bit. Unless this thing's not that accurate, but it's on there and it's staying on there. It ain't going away. Whew. Alright, now moving on to the ride height screws. Get those knocked out. I don't know how good that lighting is. I might set up a flashlight here. And the thing is I don't want to put these on fully. I just want to put them on enough so I can get tires on there, because they will put a torque on the torsion bar, and I really don't want that happening. I just want them on there so at least support the wheel. Alright, so the screw, which is right here, it's not that great, but if you go under your car, you'll see it. The socket for that screw is 15/16, and of course then you just need a ratchet. That'll be good enough. And then, you know, since it's a screw, it's got a round edge, and it goes into a little indent in this arm up here on the lower control arm. And what that does is it pushes this arm up, where my fingers are, which twists this here, where my fingers are, and then that twists the torsion bar, which is obviously right up here. So, and that's the thing, I don't, you know, I'm not doing an official thing. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be taking this to an alignment shop for the final alignment and adjustment and everything. But of course, like I said, for the millionth time, I want to put wheels on this thing for now. So I want to just have that just a bit, so it will support everything and not fall over, you know. So I'm gonna get into that. And I'm gonna put about 5 turns, maybe that's a little high, but I'm just gonna second one. Okay, so that is off, so you just get them about finger tight. And then you know how I'm doing it in this case is the handle. The end of the handle is going towards the knuckle, steering knuckle, and then I just swing it around towards me. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did about 5 turns on there. I think that is pretty good. I didn't see the torsion bar move at all, so I don't know. Maybe I'll put a 6-1 on there. Here's a 6-1. So I'm just gonna now put 6 on, and then it's just the same thing for the other side, which I really don't need a video. It's just gonna be opposite land. Alright, so I got the adjusting screws done. I decided to actually put 24 on each because that felt better, and it, you know, put a little bit of tension on there. I felt more tension in the screw. I don't know the exact process in the manual of how you're supposed to adjust the ride height and how many exact turns there's supposed to be on these screws, but right now I just keep it at 24, and that really should be good enough when it's down on the ground and it's not sagging. And if it does sag, then I might put some more on there, you know, and probably look at the manual and see, because probably the manual will tell me exactly how to do it. But yeah, I mean, so far that's all I've had in mind to do on this car. You know, I also could do that front driver's side brake drum, and I could put this bench seat back in. But other than that, I don't really have much other to do than make a neutral safety switch wire, which I'm going to be doing that later because I'm not a big fan of wiring, and I got to put it all together, and it's just, you know, it's just something I don't want to do right now. But anything mechanical I can probably do, and I don't want to make this video too long. So I mean, I'm gonna pretty much, that's it for this video. Just me doing stuff on my car, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace. Alright, howdy y'all, this is Nick with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be working on installing this bench seat, my 66 Fury. I'm also going to be working on that front driver's side drum that I mentioned in an earlier video, but we're going to start off first with this seat, because this bench seat has obviously been just a custom garage seat for a while, and I think it's time for it to go back in the car, because I plan, you know, I'm very close to having that car back on the road, so I need a seat in there. So first I'm going to start off with pulling this out, and there's probably tons of crap under it, but go ahead and get into that. Of course, you know, it likes to tip over. So far these studs look good. They're not all mashed up from being on the floor so long. This front holder thing I did is basically the console piece, whatever you call it, is falling apart. The issue I'm having here is with the seats falling back, of course, because it's always been up against. That's probably the first time in like 3 years this thing has been moved out from in front of the toolbox. So I'm just gonna let it sit like this for a moment while I clean that space out. Alright, so now I'm going to be dusting this underside of the seat, because obviously it's been sitting out here for 30 years, so it's got a lot of spider webs. ready to go. Probably vacuum the rest of this out of the car later when it's in. And I found the nuts to the studs on here, and so far these studs are good. There's no issues. The only problem is this front armrest, which I meant earlier, is falling apart. And I mean, of course, the whole thing itself, really, all this in fabric, this needs to be reupholstered, but I'm just trying to get it running and driving. That's about it. Alright, now I'm going to attempt to load the seat in the car. See how it goes. I just got some nuts on this end because it's screeching on the floor. I don't like that. It has no balance, so it's just falling over. And I gotta watch out for this door support here because the door won't stay open. Be careful I don't bend any of these studs because that's what I don't want happening. And I don't want anything tearing. Of course, protected. We did a little tiny bit of damage, not much. really hard doing this with only one door. The other door doesn't even open. So this is what I've got going on here. I'm making sure this trim scratched up and that these razors aren't going to get damaged either. And then there's 4 holes in the floor that the stud's going. It's in and not that damaged. Next challenge is making sure that all the studs go in the holes. So now I'm going to check if I have the stud over here in its hole. I don't know, I'm just going to go over, check in the car. That's how you get a seat in. Make sure you get that nut on real quick, because you do not want that thing jumping back. And you can find the nuts almost directly under the door panel, the floorboard, the rocker panel, that's what I meant. Whew. And then go do the other side. Whew. then the only half I had that was longer was an inch. So I had to convert everything to ½ inch. That's what I meant. Recorrection. ½ inch, because this is 3/8 drive. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this off. Just always make sure they go on smooth. You're not cross-threading. Now I'm working on putting belts back in for the front seats, and the part number for these belts is 2765472, and it says 1965. There's a 4 there, so it looks like April 1965, so it tells you it's a 66, because they usually did that stuff where you know, of course they would always build the car for the next year in the previous year. So, yep. And yep, also in part number 2765472. And I'm not sure exactly which ones go on the inside and which ones go on the outside, but so far, based on the back seat, the actual clamp goes on the inside in the center of the seat, and the thing that it clicks into goes on the outside. And all the nuts are welded into the body, so you don't have to worry about having a nut to tighten. I think there's also a difference between the inside bolts and the outside bolts. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, they all look the same, so it really doesn't matter where they go. There should be nuts on each rocker, and then part of the transmission tunnel, there should be nuts on there. I'm just going to go ahead and show you all the results when I put them in. So one quick note is that this socket for these screws is 13/16. So just keep in mind. Alright, so here's the final result of the interior. I don't know if my camera is lagging or not, or maybe it is. Weird, but anyway, this is pretty much it. I put the belts in. This bolt right here kind of stripped out, which is driving my OCD nuts right now, but it's holding in tight, so it should be good. You know, I might get shoulder belts for this thing, because I mean, lap belts aren't all that great. So yeah, seems to be when there's low light it lags, or maybe don't even know the hell I'm talking about. So yep, Now we're on to the drum brake. Brake drum, I meant. And I'll see y'all when I'm over in that process. Alright, so now we're moving on to the brake drum and taking care of these studs. So anyway, the first thing is there's these locks on the studs. Not sure if I can see that well, but right where my finger is, there's a lock on there, and they call that swage or swedge or whatever. And it keeps those stock studs locked on the drum, and you got to drill those out with a swedge tool or swage tool to get the stud out to replace it. And the actual swedge tool is $90, so the cheap route is to go with hole saws. So in this case, I got a 5/8 and a 3/4 hole saw, and I'm going to test which one fits the best. And I got brand new lug nuts, and I don't know if you can see my hand, but it is not a right hand stud, it's a left hand. Like that, there's my left hand, I'm putting it on. So that stud obviously right there is good. There's one stud, which in a previous video, which will probably be somewhere up here on my channel, either before or after, probably after, old video. We pounded out that stud, and you can go watch the video to see what happened there. It was crazy, but we didn't realize that these studs are left hand, so we were tightening the nut on there instead of taking it off, and it was just this one nut, and the wheel was still stuck to the drum, so we thought it was seized, and we just pounded it out, just hammered on it until it came out. Somehow it came out, I don't know how, but it got out of there. And yeah, so that's the main stud I'm going to be replacing. And then there's a stud back here, and there's another bad stud right here, but these two studs here are fine. Yeah, this one over here is good. That one isn't good. So, yeah, I'm going to get into that. Alright, so I got the hole saws out of their package. I got the 5/8 here. I got to test if that's it. 5/8 doesn't fit. 3/4 kind of fits. It doesn't fit all that well. It's kind of loose.
Nick, does it stay in the car?
What?
Does it stay in the car?
No, just drop it in the pile.
Bring it to you?
Just drop it in the pile. So pretty much I'm calling this a day on this swage operation. Probably have to do it tomorrow or whenever I get an 11/16 hole saw, because Apparently, let's see, 5/8 is too small, and 3/4 is way too big, and the only one between that is 11/16, and there's an 11/16 hole saw, so I'm gonna grab that, and I'll see you in the next clip whenever I get around back to this.